Today we're talking about the Trials of King Hercules in hindsight. This video is a little bit unusual from what I usually do, and I just wanted to give you some insight as to why I'm talking about something that is probably a few weeks old now and not actively played much anymore. Today I actually wanted to make a video on Freya, but I realized that the footage that I had wasn't really something that was satisfying to me yet, and I didn't really have the option to get more footage. PTS went down and everything. And I thought, well, you could make that video, you could force yourself to do that topic that you originally planned to do, but really it's not gonna be what you want it to be. The end result is not gonna be as good as you want it to be, and I'd rather not do that. I'd rather put some more time into that. And then I realized, what have you been spending the day with? And that was Trials of King Hercules, because I wanted to get the rewards for the hard mode before Trials of King Hercules is removed. I know I could have done that weeks ago, but I really didn't find the time to do it between getting the normal footage and just playing normal games and everything else, and obviously making videos. So I figured, you know what, some people may still be interested in this topic, and it's definitely what I've been busy with today, what's been on my mind most of the day, so it only makes sense to actually talk about exactly that. So that's what we're gonna do, and I hope you can still enjoy it. Let me know in the comments if you feel like this is something I should do from time to time, just jump to a random topic that I've been busy with instead of going with whatever is current, basically. So, Trials of King Hercules. Interesting mode, we already talked about it once earlier, just about the basics of the mode. Now we're going a little deeper into how it panned out in the end. The mode itself was quite interesting, as you started with no items at all, and you had to grind your way up to a certain level of items. In order to get there, you would have to find a comp first that gets you to the point of killing the first bigger wave that gets you any sort of items, or you could grind up by farming gold, and as soon as you did that, you would be able to advance in the game mode. There were also things like no item runs, but that was rather rare. Easy mode, however, was just that for the most part. After grinding through it for a little bit, getting your first items, it became easier and easier with every item you got, and in the end you would basically just be able to rush through it, and the only longer part would be the spider part, because you can't really control the pace there. If you wanted to go for hard mode, however, things looked quite different, and this is the part where I was personally a bit annoyed with. If you really wanted to finish the hard mode of the game, you would most likely be required to have at least most items, most of the item collection. Obviously with the buffs later on and with the buffs being buffed in one of the patches, it became a little easier, but it was something that would still take you quite a lot of time. You needed at least some lifesteal and some crit and all that stuff in most builds, on most characters, in order to work effectively. And that grind was pretty damn boring. On PTS, the price for epic items was actually 2000 gold, and back then it was quite easy to get them, whereas on live it was 3000 gold, and that makes a huge difference. The best way to get them was grinding rubies on the first boss and then resetting, but that would still take like 2 to 3 minutes per run depending on how many items you had, and also considering that you have to pick gods first and load into the game and get items and stuff like that. But 3 minutes times the amount of items available in the game modes is still a lot of time. And especially since you only get purples from the bosses, of which there were only 2, and the second one took way too long to grind to, that was a lot of time sink in a very repetitive mode. You just had to go through the same areas again and again and again, and there was no challenge to it at all. It was just literally running through, killing the target again, and going back to the start. I'm very much used to grinding things. It's something that I've done for the longest time in World of Warcraft, and it never bothered me there because you still had the threat of enemy players, you still had decently strong creeps around you, and generally it didn't require much attention either if you were like farming certain things. So I was okay with that, but this is a little different because you still need to, look at your game so you don't run into walls, but you also don't have any challenge at all. And that, if you went through the grind, would also mean that you get into hard mode, where the same situation kind of occurred in a different way. The beginning is really easy, and you can rush through it almost even on hard mode, and the deeper you go into the game, the harder it becomes. And the scaling with which it became harder was kind of awkward. For example, when we're not running buffs, we were wiping on the spiders in the cave a few times, like the ones with the light and the darkness. But that was more down to just not coordinating properly yet. But in order to get there and to practice that coordination, we had to go through the whole dungeon again. And almost all of it before that was very, very easy in comparison and almost no challenge at all. So it was a bit awkward to just having to spend so much time in the mode in order to get to the place where you were. And now I understand that a checkpoint system may have made the mode a little bit too easy, but I feel like at least something like it is in normal dungeons in MOBAs would be nice, where mobs just respawn after a certain time. So if you've done a certain area once and you come back there within a reasonable amount of time, you don't have to do all the mobs again, basically. So there could be some sort of reset where you won't get the record in regards to time anymore if you wipe once, but you would get reset to the start and minions respawn after 2 minutes or whatever, to something to keep it a little bit more fair and less annoying. It goes without saying that this goes kind of avoid the moment you're using the buffs, because with the buffs it's really not that challenging at all, and the deaths are most likely to just messing up or trying to rush it too much rather than actually having problems with most of the mode, maybe except for the Hydra. That said, I really enjoyed the boss design. I thought that the visual design of the dungeon was really cool, even on my shitty low graphics. And I do think that there is definitely potential in that sort of mode. We tried speedrunning it a little bit. We actually just made it to like place 180 as a team, so 60 something in regards to where we ended up, and a lot of teams did a lot better, but it was definitely fun just going for that challenge a little bit for just one night and trying it out. What I think can generally be taken away from the mode is the interactions with the bosses. I think that's something that's really cool, and I would like to see more complex attack interactions in Conquest, for example on the Fire Giant, which currently has a very easy pattern. I know that the more complex the pattern you make, the more people will mess up, because people already mess up a lot, but I don't really mind that. I like a skill cap of some sort on PvE targets as well, and I think that would be something cool. As well as the visuals from the mod, obviously. A lot of the elements will probably be used for the next Conquest map, and I think they look really nice and would be great to see them there. What could also be taken away for future modes is the kind of, well, progression system that should be looked into, which with this mode didn't work out like it should be working out at all. Actually, the whole game mode could have had a normal mode in between, where you maybe get more items, or maybe even give more items on the hard mode at least if you grind the boar, so that it would actually feel challenging but also more rewarding to play harder difficulties when it comes to getting the items for later on. As it stands, the mode was fun for a bit, but then kinda turned into work, especially when we consider that a lot of people have a lot of other things to do as well, not only outside of Smite, but also in Smite. If you want to get your ranked placements or whatever, or you want to keep your ranked placement, or you just want to play with your friends usually and they don't like the mode and all that kind of stuff comes together, it's very hard to fit in a lot of time in an additional casual game mode, and it's especially frustrating when it's just tied to rewards like the chests that you could get from it. Though I understand that the chests were not supposed to be available for everyone, and that was the way that was restricted. Either way, one thing is certain, this was miles better than Smite Racer was. And that's pretty much my conclusion of the Trials of King Hercules. However, I wanted to show you the rest of the run for those of you who are interested in that, for those of you who want to see me die on the Hydra. And there is a topic that I wanted to briefly talk about already, and I feel like this is exactly the spot where I can do this when usually it doesn't really fit into the video. And that is a project that I've been planning for a while now that will happen probably in the week after next week. As I already mentioned recently, I'm kind of busy with a lot of things at the moment regarding uni and so on, and I will not be able to do as much content as I would like to, but I had the idea of getting some other people on for a week and basically posting their videos on the channel. And I think this is something that could be really cool. It could be a really cool opportunity, especially for some smaller content creators to, well, get a bit of a different spotlight through my channel, and for you guys to obviously discover some new content creators. At this point, I've found almost all the content creators that will participate in this particular week, and the last ones are being decided at the moment, basically. So there is a good selection of some names you may already know, depending on how active you are in the Smite scene outside of my channel, you may not know, and that have different kinds of content, which I think will bring a very good mix. There will be some comedy, some montage style stuff, some theory stuff, more similar to mine, and all of the videos that I've seen so far, I think, show the great potential of some of the smaller content creators in the scene, as well as should be very entertaining for you to watch. And I really hope that I can fulfill that expectation with the selection that I'll be making, and that the content creators that do participate will benefit from it as well. And that's obviously something that comes down to you guys in the end too. So I would ask you to, in that week especially, provide as much feedback to them as possible. Check out their channels, click the sub button if you enjoy their stuff, because really it helps the channel a lot if they get some more subs and get some more attention if they upload something new. And yeah, just generally support this if you feel like it's a good idea. If it ends up working out well and being well received, I will do something like that again later in the year when I will be busy for a while again. With that, thank you guys for watching. Obviously, if you're not subscribed yet, you can also subscribe to my channel. It would really help me out too. See you guys for the next one tomorrow. It will maybe be the Freya video or one of the other god changes. I've got quite a few things lined up. I want to talk about not only Freya but also Bakasura. I also want to talk about certain item changes. We'll look into that very, very soon. You'll find out tomorrow which topic it ends up being. Duke Sloth, out.